how many times I've said no? How many times I've said, please stop? There was I was in such pain. I started to feel the pain early, and I put it on Twitter. They never stopped. They're still doing it today. At one point, I was in my bed, screamed. It was like I couldn't believe it. And they said, oh, but you started laughing afterwards. The shock. So in their doing this to me, they said, I'm so annoying, I can't stop talking. That's what this does. They forget that. This is a technology used. It was used in North Korea and other places to make victims talk. So when they said at one point I was really sick and you've seen me, I kept doing all these videos. They said they want to try to bring me back to that stage. This is what this technology does. So the idea that I'm doing what this technology is meant to do, but I'm not doing it in a confrontational way, them. It's not making sense to them that they're doing something that's not just a crime and violent. It lacks humanity in them. In order for you to see the humanity in someone else, you have to have humanity in yourself, and they don't. They thought I would be embarrassed. Someone left a post to me that said, well, the name Shamika could be someone else. It was me. It was my professor. I had her for English in Fordham University. And just to show you how the name can't just be used, if I'm a professor at a college, even if she didn't teach me, which she did, I couldn't use the name of a student from that same college because people would say, that must be about Shamika. At Fordham, I was in the Fordham newspaper. I was in the Fordham brochure. I was a student. So the name Shamika is automatically connected to Fordham. My dean became the president of Fordham University. So just automatically, if you don't know any Shamikas in the world and you Google Fordham University and Shamika, I would be the Shamika that comes up. I was there from 91 to 95. The first book the professor wrote was published in 97. So maybe she wrote it in 96, maybe about a year after I graduated. The book that I am the student in, and I was her student, and the Shamika character was a student in the book, the Northbury Papers, was published in 98. And I said in a previous video, maybe she wrote it in like 97. And so in the last live I did, the people talking to me said, oh, nigger, the word nigger, was once miserly, like stingy. And years ago, I remember it being that. I can't find it now online. They admit that they remember it also. But they can't find it, I can't find it. And I'm not going to drive myself crazy. So instead, I'll go with the niggered or niggardly thing, which isn't the same. But I'm telling you, years ago, I remember it being used that way. But again, I'm 52. So I'm talking years ago, things that we did years ago. It's not online. They admit that they're using this for AI. I know they are. I've said that before. When I'm looking at the Shamika character that my professor wrote, and it's in AI, and AI is like analyzing her personality, she's nothing like me. Yet they say I'm doing pretty much the same thing she did in the book, which was documenting her sexual harassment. That's part of it. It's not just the book. It's the topic of the book that has my name. So when the voices told me about the book, here's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about what the voices tell me, which is really hard. The hard part is when the voices are telling me something and I don't know. I know my own life. So it was easy for me just to Google myself, which I had done so many times before. And when I found it, I couldn't believe it. I said, this is some sort of a trick. I bought the book. I read the book. Years later, they kept saying the book doesn't exist. And even, I'm telling you, I didn't even believe, even though I physically held the book, searched my name, I couldn't believe the book was real. So today I get a post from someone who's like, well, you just have the same name. It would be that if the name was like a common name, if it wasn't my professor, if my name wasn't connected to Fordham, if my name wasn't published as being connected to Fordham, which is a bigger deal. So it would be something else if I was just Shamiga who attended Fordham. But I was published in the brochure in 94. I was published in the newspaper, the Fordham newspaper. I was known in the school. So it's not just a random Shamiga, it's me, Shamiga. And when this started and they falsely accused me with no empathy whatsoever of being gang raped, they reenacted it. They started using this technology to target my personal areas. And one night I woke up and it felt different in that area. And I want to talk about this because someone on YouTube was brave enough to put his experience with this technology and he called it rape. And that's what it felt like. And they said, we're gang raping you. You were gang raped. And at the time, I didn't connect it to the book. By the time it settled in that they were reenacting the gang rape that's in the book, that is the trauma that book in connection to this caused me. So when they said, I'll never go back to being the same person, I never can. They reenacted with this technology, with the voices, a gang rape. So they technologically gang raped me in the privacy of my home. And when I woke up, my genital area felt weird. And they started playing a Billy Joel song. And they said they were working at the concert, which is strange because later on, before Angie Stone passed away, they said, promote her music. And I didn't. I was scared. Something just didn't feel right. By then, I started to realize when they mention names, it's a bad connection. And they said, promote her music. And I didn't. And then maybe it wasn't a long time after she passed away. So they are in some way connected to the entertainment industry, especially music. And how that connects is when the gang rape that they reenacted through this technology happened in 2019. They were at a Billy Joel concert and they played, I can't remember the song now, I have to think. And they played it through this technology. They said more, only the woman, the slow song, something about a woman to him. And they played that. And they said, there it is. And that's part of what I need you to know. I need you to know everything that I can put together. So going back to how there was a brave person on YouTube who's a man who talked about this technology and the voices raping him and how brave he was to admit it. I want to be brave like him and say, that happened to me also. And when I woke up from this thing, I didn't know what this thing was. And I felt different in my personal area. And they were playing the song. And then later on, they said, you accuse men of gang raping you. So we gang raped you. And I'm like, I never did that. But the character did that, which is partly why I'm talking about this in this way. They're upset because they're ashamed. They said, we apologize. There's no way to apologize. I'm disabled. Thing about me crying, my voice strains. So it's like my muscles, I'm fighting to get the words out. It's not crying. Trust me, when I cry, I would show you. But that's part of this. They don't feel any empathy ever because it's constant. It's like competition. They look at this like they're, they just said something. They look at this like constant competition, constant competing. And I don't want them. They came here after I came here. They actually said they were moved here because of me, to gang stalk me. So I'm going to let you listen. So tonight we'll spend the night together listening to them.